Welcome to our presentation, and welcome to your next pride point. Efficiency, the ratio of usable energy compared to lost energy. Efficiency, a word emphasized throughout the economic and industrial sectors. Efficiency, something that should be within our global power. Our global power is driven by crude oil, but it can't even be used without being refined. So how do we get from something like crude oil to something like, per se, gasoline? Distillation. Welcome to a higher efficiency distillation solution. Azeotrop. Meet the team, myself, Mahmoud, and Ahmed. With 16 years of combined experience, we are ready to tackle any problems we may face when implementing a product. So what even is Azeotrop? Azeotrop is a company ready to revolutionize the industry as a whole. By using nanomaterials, we are more efficiently able to distill liquid mixtures. But how will we implement our product? Free implementation will occur with our distillation power. Companies will be at no risk of trying out our distillation units, but the profit for both parties will occur in the energy cost reduction, in which we will take a percentage. So what even is distillation? Distillation is the separation of liquid mixtures by controlled increase in temperature, and it's very energy intensive. Distillation alone accounts for 7% of the total energy used throughout the United States. This is per day, mind you. But what does 7% even look like? 7% looks like 3 million barrels of crude oil. 7% is extremely taxing. And just to remind you, this is per day. So where will we focus our efforts? Our efforts will be focused in the ethanol industry. Ethanol is extremely useful for many things. It can be used in fuel, pharmaceuticals, and most recently relevant due to COVID-19, hand sanitizer. So why should we even change? Azeotrop provides up to 40% in savings in energy. The industry is pushing for more sustainable options, especially throughout the distillation manufacturing. Let's take a step in the right direction towards saving money and saving resources for our children.
Thanks, Victor. In order to show how Azeotrop changes the game of distillation, we need to talk a little bit about the technicalities of distillation. And the best place to start from is, of course, the kitchen. So remember, if we want to separate oil from water, the simple mixture, we can simply heat it. And water would go into the light phase, and oil would go into the heavy phase. So in this case, we can think about it for a mixture like salt and water. It's the same thing happening. Water will go into the light phase, and salt will go into the heavy phase. This is the idea of distillation, as simple as that. But what will happen if we have something like water and ethanol? They are as heavy or as light. So if we increase the temperature and try to boil them to separate them, the vapor phase or the liquid phase would have the same composition, ethanol and water. So how is even, if the term no change in boiling, this is actually what it means, what Azeotrop means in Greek. So why do we need to separate water from ethanol? So ethanol can be used as a fuel, as of course many of you know already. So having water into the ethanol mixture, this will harm the engine and would make it life shorter, as of course many of you know. So what happens in the industry to produce ethanol? So the first step, we start with corn, and adding some yeast or water into the corn can turn it into ethanol and water in a fermentation step. And then in the industry, they can separate ethanol from water because of the Azeotrop formation I discussed before. They can do that by introducing a third component, something like benzene, and they can do the distillation in two steps, like ethanol, water, benzene. Then ethanol and benzene would be in the light phase, water and benzene would be in the heavy phase. And then they would take the light phase, which is ethanol and benzene, and they can do another step of distillation. They can do ethanol and benzene, they can separate it into benzene in the light phase, and ethanol So it's a two-step process instead of a one-step simple distillation process. So what do we do in Azeotrop? We change the game entirely. So we use our technology by introducing nanomaterials that's supported by our two patents. And we introduce nanomaterials into the distillation column. And we can do the distillation in one single step instead of doing it in two steps. So in this way, we are not paying twice for the energy. We are paying only one single time. So this can save up to 40% of the energy, from 20 to 40%. It depends on the process itself. So what's the market of fuel ethanol? So the market in US only is 17 billion gallons of fuel ethanol annually. This is huge, and it can increase further by reducing the production cost of ethanol. So the main competitors in the market of ethanol is Absolute Energy, which is an established company and produces about 1 billion gallons annually, but they are using the traditional distillation pathway I talked about before. And the other one, rising one, is a startup called Secure, and they're using the membrane technology, but they are focused on the vegetable oil market, but they are planning in the future to expand to the ethanol market. So what are the advantages Azeotrop have over them? So Azeotrop provides an energy efficient pathway and spends some time in the R&D of ethanol, high purity ethanol production. And it's also greener, and the savings can happen for both the manufacturer and for us, as Ahmed will talk about it later. So what is the deal here? So Azeotrop simply will sell the distillation units to the manufacturer. The manufacturer will save some energy, will make some energy savings based on that, and we will take fraction of this savings, and they will have some savings as well. So it's a win-win situation. This can be up to 40,000 K per month for a simple average distillation unit. I will hit it up to talk about some numbers.
Thanks, Mahmoud. So according to our market analysis, as you can see here, according to Statista and Grant Research, the ethanol production market segment in the United States alone is accounted for $35 billion. Now, with the competitive advantage Mahmoud mentioned here as being greener, more energy efficient, and less costly, our risk-free solution is sure to dominate this beachhead market. So we are intending to monopolize this market and to use it in order to penetrate through an even larger market. We intend to go to the ethanol industry worldwide, but we are not only intending to expand vertically, but we also intend to expand horizontally. By horizontally, I mean going to other chemical industries, such as crude oil distillation, chemical separation, and water desalination. As we speak of today, the chemical industry market segment accounts for $5.4 trillion worldwide. So what does Azeotrop need in order to start? So in order to be in full operation, Azeotrop requires $3 million. Those $3 million will be utilized in making the pilot plant, in making a production line for creating the nanomaterials we're going to embed in our units, and of course, sales, marketing, and administrative expenses. According to our financial study and the units we're going to sell over the 7 years period, we expect to reach a company worth of sixfold this $3 million over the next 7 years. And according to our financial study, we expect a payback period in less than 4 years and a company worth of more than $80 million after 7 years of operation. So investing in Azeotrop is not only going to give you 15% of the company worth, but also you will be making a great deal to the environment. So what is the climate impact? If you think about it, what does Azeotrop does, as Mahmoud mentioned, we're taking a two-stage distillation process, we're making it one stage, and we are saving 30% of the energy consumed. Saving 30% of the energy consumed means saving 30% of the carbon dioxide emissions, and means producing much cheaper ethanol. Much cheaper ethanol will help be utilized more in cars as fuel. This, by then, will also help the environment much more. So Azeotrop will reduce the climate impact from distillation or carbon dioxide emissions by 50,000 metric tons per year. So this is huge. And so investing in ethanol in Azeotrop is not only going to give you incredible profits and returns, but also it will help the environment a great deal.
So what's our commitment to you as the investor? Our commitment to you is second to none. With you, we'll be able to implement this in the real world. With you, we'll be able to show distillation manufacturers that we are the solution and they need us. So take a step beside me and let's walk together on our illuminated path of saved energy. Azeotrop, let's save the planet one drop at a time. This concludes our prepared remarks. I'd like to thank you all for listening, and we'll open the floor up to any questions for the next 5 minutes.
That third competitor you showed, the one with that's a startup. Are they doing the two-stage distillation as well to get to the vegetable oil?
Well, they are doing one stage, but they are using different technology. It's called membrane technology, so it's efficient for big molecules like vegetable oil. But for ethanol and water, it's a tiny molecule, so it would be hard for them. That's why they started with the vegetable oil. They are planning to do some R&D and move to the ethanol, but this is in the future. But it's one stage in this case. But it will require them some time.
How fast could they catch up to you, or how do you plan to not be overtaken by them?
So we think even if they succeeded and make it using the membrane technology they have, they will still be efficient compared to them. And think about it, I mean, if we started right now, they are focused on the vegetable oil. We can take some time developing and making our process more efficient even more. So it's just starting earlier, we make it more efficient.
I can also add, yeah, so the competition here we expect is a future competition when they are trying to expand, but they are not even trying to monopolize the same market as we do, the initial stage.
What was your motivation towards your business model of selling the equipment to the manufacturers and then collecting profits from the energy savings? Are you going to be making money on the initial capital expenditures?
So ideally, we will be implementing our product for free, and the benefit will be that distillation units will be able to create a trust between us and these large companies, and that will allow us to further expand faster. But there will be, we will be losing money initially, but eventually the payback will be great.
I can also add, we tried several financial studies, one of which we actually produce the ethanol ourselves, and one else that we actually sell the unit to other people. It turned out that this will be more profitable in the long term for us or something.
How do you plan to expand in the coming years after crude oil and
So I think we will focus at the beginning at the high purity ethanol. As I said, it's two stage. We are planning to make it one stage. So this is easy for us to penetrate. And after that, after dominating the high purity ethanol, we can expand to the whole ethanol market. It will be easier for us. The high purity or not high purity, all the ethanol production. And after that, we can expand to the horizontally, like moving to water desalination, for example, or move to the crude oil. It will be based on the R&D and the income we are making at that time.
and how long do you suppose that this would take?
It depends on the fund we are getting. So if we succeeded to secure the fund we are asking for here, we can secure the ethanol market within 10 to 15 years. Yeah.
I have a question about the market. So you mentioned the end users. Are you going to be selling to other people like automobile industry? So with the automobile industry, nowadays people are trying to move like electric. Other countries in Europe are forcing cars to become electric by 2030. So how are you going to combat this? Are you going to have like a new revenue stream?
I think it's a very good question, but the reason why they are moving to electric vehicles is the environment and the green motivation. Okay? Ethanol also can be green because it's coming from crops. It's not from corn mainly. We can produce ethanol from different ways. But if we succeeded to produce ethanol from non-edible crops, this is an extra stage. Ethanol can be renewable. You can think about it as it's a renewable resource. So in this case, I mean, going and competing with the electric vehicles will not have a big, they will not have a big advantage or niche regarding the environment, because the ethanol as well can be considered as green. It depends on how you produce the ethanol in this case.
Gotcha, thanks. Also, I love your name, Azeotrop, like Azeotrop. As a fellow chemical engineer, I can appreciate it.
Another reason that we'll be able to compete with electric is that electric power can't produce enough for manufacturing applications such as generators or large machinery. Currently that runs off diesel, and if we were able to implement ethanol, which companies such as Brazil actually do run mostly off ethanol rather than gas or diesel, we will then have a larger market in that case.
How can I contact you guys?
With our email, victormahmoudahmed@azeotrop.com.
Thank you.
You should to provide that information.
That's a good catch.
Thank you. Go ahead.
My question, I might have missed it, but what stake are you offering for an investment?
Ahmed, you talk about that.
Yeah, so we are offering 15% of the company for $3 million.
Two things. One, so where are you starting with the selling? I mean, you mentioned like the United States, but do you have any partnerships? Where are you looking at partnerships with specific refineries, or starting in Utah, or are you just tackling the whole country at once?
So we are trying to make our beachhead market Midwest, United States first. We are in the phase, we are doing customer discovery, going to talk to people, but we did not make any actual agreements yet with them. But we just want Midwest, United States, and United States then.
And then if I can just add I'm assuming we can add constructive feedback as well. I think one comment on the presentation, y'all do a really great job with your ethos and everything else along that. Y'all are credible. But one lacking bit was kind of the pathos. You touched upon the climate change slide at the end, but I think perhaps really bringing that forward and even maybe cutting down a little bit on the technical explanations would help improve it. Y'all got a lot of, I trust y'all know what you're talking about, but I think it's more the mission could be sold a little bit more to me.
So you mentioned in your go-to-market strategy, reduction strategy, that it was zero risk because you were going to let them try it out for free. Once you have a more established numbers and it's proven that it works, I understand that other people will be more open. But for the initial one, is it a one size fits all? Like I need to replace your entire system with this, or is it modular where I can just turn one of my distilleries into this to try it out? If I like it, I can add more to scale it up to where it's all of my ethanol is being produced with yours.
Okay, so the reason it will be risk-free, not because, there's always risk because he will need to shut down his operation in order to install our product, for sure. The reason it's risk-free because he will see it working in a pilot plant. So it will be actually working, that's what makes it risk-free, that it will work in your system. We have lots of partnerships, so the people who will actually be taking care of how to install our unit into our customers' plant, chemical plant, is like Schneider Electric. Schneider Electric has I'm sure it's a famous company, maybe lots of you know it. It has a branch called Invensys. Invensys is a chemical company, and that's what it actually do. Just modifies the process, takes a new unit, install it, and ensures that it will work. So yeah, so in this part, we will be leaning on one of our partners,